therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect.
Christ, his own word, because we like to say Christ died for our sin. He's telling you for you to be perfect. He leaves us a good example that we must follow. So who are you to say that you can't be perfect? And guess what? You have men that paved the way before you that can show you how to be perfect. Cheek. Can we all love? But if your brother killed one of your brother, the whole family say, let's go hunt that brother down that just killed your brother.
Right.
That's how we think. We hate each other, but love our enemies.
That's right.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 and verse 3. With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods. Let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the
read that again. I want you to pay attention, sis. Listen to this.
With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods.
The one that created you is the Most High God. His beauty based on your beauty. Watch this.
Let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty have created them.
Who is the first author of beauty is the Most High God.
Bring it out.
He's the one that created you. If he is the first author of beauty by default and he created you, who do you look like? God. If you look like him, should you be ashamed of your hair, sis? That hair that you got on is your oppressor's hair. Here's his leprosy. That's not your kind of, the same thing with your pigmentation. You dark skin for a reason.
Right.
Your kind is stronger. If we were not the best thing that, give me that in Deuteronomy 7:6. If you were not the best thing God ever created, you think you would have still been standing today?
Bring it out.
Think about it. We endure over 400 years of captivity. Who else you know can endure such thing? You still standing strong. And guess what? If you don't see that, those that follow you gonna do the same thing.
Right.
These young girls that are walking around that look like they're confused, they'll see you as their model. They're gonna follow the same thing you do. But when you start taking pride on yourself, they will do the same thing. The same thing for you, my brother. You can be a good example to the community. Guess what? Each one teach one. You don't learn just for yourself. You learn to help your brother next to you.
Right.
Those that are in lower end, and bring them up to be in the same status. If we start learning how to love ourselves, trust me, we'll change our community.
Right.
Our community will stay clean.
Right.
These young men will know how to respect older men.
Right.
These young sisters will know to stay in their place, not to be in men's face. They don't know those things, because guess what? Nobody's teaching them.
Right.
Give me that in Sirach 37 and 12. I'm going to show you one more. Give me two more scriptures. Watch this. Because how are you going to learn? Knowing all this here, if you don't take the next step, you will still remain where you're at. There's the next step that you have to follow. I'm going to show you.
Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 12.
Bring it out.
But be continually with a godly man.
You see, it's telling you be continually with a godly man. Would the godly man be your pastor? Think about it. It should be. But so you say no. Why not? It's not teaching you the right thing. Guess what? The scripture gonna tell you that. Watch this. Read it again.
But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
You see that? Exactly what you just said. Who you know is keeping God's laws. So he said, be around brothers and sisters that are keeping God's laws. Those are your example that you may want so you can grow. As you grow, you do the same thing to those that are without.
That's right.
They're going to see you as a changed man. They're going to see you as a changed sister. And guess what? You're going to change their life.
Right.
Some of these kids out there, they need someone to save them from their condition. And I'm not telling you things that I don't know. I've seen them every day. These young kids, these young girls need a good example. And you have to change for them to have that good example. You have to change for them to see that good example. And if we remain the same way we are, do we really love our people? We don't. Finish that up.
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
show you the true heaviness of this scripture. Does pastors care when you lose your job?
No.
Do they help you out when you lose your job? They said God will provide. Do they help you? But yet they used to make you pay 10% of your tithe every month.
That's right.
Is it every week or every month? I don't remember. It's been a while since I stopped following this foolishness. Every month. But guess what? That thing is no longer, even when it was never money.
Right.
First of all. Second, those things used to go to who? The Levites. The Levites are the so-called Haitian. They don't get anything from the church. Actually, they're taking money from them too. Those that are in Haiti today, they're paying, the church still send the fund to headquarters.
Right.
Which is the same people, the white man. They still taking everything from you. But guess what? We can stand up and fix our community by fearing God first and start applying what's required from you.
Right.
So let me ask you guys this, see if I can close this out for you. Now, moving forward, what am I expecting to see from you, my brother?
First, you gotta learn the word.
How are you gonna learn it? Read the Bible. Give me Acts chapter 8, verse 29. I'm gonna show you. You said something, but I want to show you what you're saying. Because I read a scripture earlier. Maybe you didn't catch it. I'm gonna read this scripture for you, and you tell me. I'm gonna ask you the same question again. What you saying about how you're gonna learn it? Listen to this.
The book of Acts, chapter 8 and verse 30. And Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah and said, Understandest thou what thou readest?
You say you're gonna read the Bible, right? Now, Philip asked this brother that was reading the book of Isaiah. It says, Isaiah. It says, do you understand what you're reading? We don't.
And he said, How can I, except some man should guide me?
That brother understand to be humble and say, hey, I can read it all I want, but without somebody to show me what I'm reading, I cannot understand it.
That's
Just
right.
like what we're doing today. We're going in the scripture to show you the things that church is not teaching you.
Right.
How would you know the right way if nobody is guiding you?
That's right.
So let me ask you again. What must you do? Okay. Now here's what I'll tell you. That's good. Give me Judith 8 and 24. Let me show you this. In the back of your flyer, we have an address on there. 3030 South Monroe Street. Y'all know where Winn-Dixie used to be at? Planet Fitness. That's that location right behind. That's where we at. This is how you can come and learn. We have sisters, our wives can show you the right way. So you can start applying those things to your life. The same thing for you. We can show you the right way so you can start doing the same thing that we are doing today.
That's
Right.
right.
The book of Judith, chapter 8 and verse 24. Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend upon us, and the sanctuary and the house and the altar rest upon us.
What's that scripture saying, my brother? What's that? It's not saying it's up to you. Let me read it again. Pay attention.
Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example.
What's that saying? How you going to show an example? You got to learn. Let us show an example to our brethren. It's going to tell you why. Read.
To our brethren, because their hearts depend upon us.
Because their mind is dependent upon you. When you see these young brothers all thugging out there, killing each other, raping each other, robbing each other, their mind is dependent on righteous men to teach them the better way. If you don't teach yourself, if you don't come and learn so you can help the next brother, that's why it's saying, it says their heart is dependent upon you. That's why we got to be a good example. That's why we come out here, be a good example to our brothers and sisters.
That's
showing,
right.
hey, if we can do it, you can do it too.
Right.
Because church saying that nobody can be perfect. That's not true. Matthew 20, give me that, Matthew 5 and 48. Watch this. I'm going to show you. Church tell you that you can't be perfect. That's not true.
Bring it out.
Because Christ asked you to do that. And then after that, give me that in first. Yes, sir.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect.
Christ is on word. Because we like to say Christ died for our sin. He's telling you for you to be perfect.
That's
He
right.
leave us a good example that we must follow. So who are you to say that you can't be perfect? And guess what? You have men that paved the way before you that can show you how to be perfect.
Right.
Watch this.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 8 and verse 61.
That scripture gonna tell you how you can be perfect.
Right.
Does that mean you won't mess up? No. But when you mess up, you're gonna see it and you're gonna fix it and you're gonna keep moving.
Right.
As like King David. King David messed up, but he was perfect. You know why? He acknowledged his sin and he moved forward.
Right.
He didn't stay in his sin. That's the difference. Watch this.
1 Kings, chapter 8 and verse 61. Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God.
It says, let your heart therefore be perfect. The same thing that Christ says. So what's that show you? Christ was quoting the Old Testament.
Right.
Because we like to say as if Christ come and bring something new doctrine. Christ was every one of his teaching was quoting the Old Testament.
Right.
He was expounding on things that were not plain for us. Read.
To walk in his statutes and to keep his commandments.
See that? And to keep his commandments. To be perfect is keeping God's laws.
Right.
Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation